Let's get nuts.
I have been waiting for a Flash movie for
Ever?
literal years. We walked into the theater, the lights went down, and I was shocked how freaking good this movie is. Okay,
I mean, I think my jaw was on the floor. I don't know how many times.
Dude, I'm sorry. This movie's fantastic. Saying that this movie's mid, or like that this movie's like a terrible, boring movie. It's like how exactly is it boring? Okay,
Well,
like
first things first.
You cannot like it, but to say it's boring.
Here's my question: if you're saying it's boring, are you an actual DC fan? Like, that to me...
I don't even think that's the case. Like, it's not
Or
even...
did they even pay any attention to Barry yet? Did they even watch that movie? Did they go into Fast X and think, you know, oh, this is the Flash? No.
Like, I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to be, like, the thing where, like, you have a finger pointing at one person, there's, like, 4 others pointing at yourself, right? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we got a lot of people wanting to be, like, critics out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, don't get me wrong... We are not critics.
No, we're not.
We're doing a podcast.
Movies.
We're doing a podcast. We're doing a video, and we call it a review, right? And that's just because if we said it's just to talk about the Flash, like nobody click on it.
A discussion.
Yeah, you know. But you know, we don't look at it from a critic's point of view of like the quality of the storytelling.
Yeah,
and
we
stuff.
don't break down the camera work or the plot.
It's legitimately, did we enjoy this movie?
Yeah,
that's pretty much. Did this movie have a theme that was worth exploring? Did this movie have any kind of resonation? No. Did this movie resonate with us?
Yes.
You know, was the acting terrible because the actors are terrible? Like that's a part of it. But again, we're not looking at it from like a, it's a 9.75 because they flawed on this movement.
No.
No, it's just basic. Did we enjoy it?
Yeah.
And absolutely we enjoyed it. I gotta say, I have my whole ranking thing. Like if it's a 3 out of 5 it means I liked it. A 4 out of 5 means I loved it. 5 out of 5 means that I really loved it and it made me cry. Made me cry, right? I gave this movie a 5 out of 5. It was good. It was damn good. It was really freaking good.
I was like so happy watching this. Like Matt told me after the movie, he's like, "You actually look like yourself." Your old self. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I hadn't looked like my old self.
No, I just meant like
I'm joking.
Just
I know
like
what
this
you meant.
big smile on your face.
Yeah.
You know?
And like just
like he was a kid again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like and seeing and this is no spoilers, but seeing Michael Keaton
Yeah.
was everything to me.
Yeah. I mean, you love Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah. I love 89 Batman. Like stupid love. Like I can't believe like the things I've seen on Instagram, like people reposting stuff that they have from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Batman, and also Batman Returns merchandise.
Oh, God.
And they're like, yeah, Keaton's back, baby. Like, they're very amped about this movie because he's in it.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm
surprised. I found her name today, and I can't remember.
Her name is Sasha. Sasha Calle?
Yeah.
Calle.
I love her.
She's fantastic, honestly.
I love
Sasha's
her.
fantastic. She murdered this role.
Yes, she did.
She killed it, man.
I know a lot of like people like I don't know. Was it well received, Supergirl?
Yeah, I mean, which one? The movie?
The movie.
Oh no, everybody hates that. Like they blame that for killing the franchise.
Aw.
Yeah. Well, kind of. A lot of people blame 3, but 3 still made money.
Yeah.
But that's the one that had Richard Pryor in it. And then they made this one, or they made Supergirl. And then they made the 4th one, which did kill Superman movies for a long time.
She's my Supergirl.
Yeah.
She's mine. I love her.
Like I like Melissa Benoist.
Yes, she was a really good Kara. Yeah.
But I feel like the writing was a bit lacking on that show. It was fun.
Yeah.
And like I stuck with it for a while.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it was a CBS show and you could feel it.
CW show.
It started off on CBS.
I don't remember.
Season 1 was on CBS. And then they moved it to CW.
Wow.
Because CBS dropped it.
I had no clue.
Yeah. That's why they were going for like an Ally McBeal angle with it. Like Callista Flockhart was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is right. She was on wonder if Harrison Ford ever followed her.
Also, speaking of Supergirl, the original movie Supergirl was in Supergirl, the show. She showed up.
I knew that.
And Dean Cain. Womp, womp, womp.
Good for him.
But no, I mean, obviously Sasha is a much better.
Oh, yes.
I mean, not even like, I don't want to compare her to Melissa Benoist. They're two different versions of the character.
Those are two different Karas altogether.
This Kara to me feels a lot more like the New 52 Kara, where she's very Kryptonian and like not very like into humans and stuff, and like very new to the world, right? Yeah. Whereas Melissa Benoist's Supergirl,
she had been there
much more your Silver Age Supergirl.
Yeah,
you know, raised by the Kents and stuff. Yeah. Like, oh, it's Clark's cousin, you know, and then she's got
Clark's
Bippo, the super horse, and so I mean, this is, you know, it's just a totally different version, which I enjoy.
Yes,
and she looks great. Like she looks like a badass, you know.
I love her suit.
Yes, someone was saying it's like the perfect combination of like masculinity and femininity. I don't even know if I said that.
No, I agree. If I was a kid watching this, I would have wanted to be her, all the time. Because
she looks jacked, but you don't lose her feminism of herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could probably speak to that a lot better. You get what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying, because
like they didn't just put her in a dude's costume.
No, they didn't.
You know, like it's definitely Supergirl's costume.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not a skirt.
No,
you know, and high heels. You know what I mean?
High heel boots.
Yeah,
like thank
God.
Go-go
boots. Yeah. No, she's great in this. Honestly, this movie's funny. One of the funnier. Honestly, maybe one of the best DCEU movies, period.
Yeah.
We'll have that conversation here in a minute. But it's funny. The action is fantastic. Seeing the Speed Force, or not even just the Speed Force, but seeing speed being used in this way. Like, I mean, I know we've had the Flash TV series, and this does teeter in a similar direction as the show does, where they go in slow-mo to show how fast they're going, right? But just the almost bullet time, one of the opening action beats, this isn't really a spoiler, but like one of the first beats, he's saving a bunch of babies. And like that, I have not seen that.
No.
And that's saying after half 100 movies, like probably 100 superhero movies that we've had at this point. Modern, right?
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
Yeah.
And like that was great. And it was funny, and like it had the character of Barry within the action beats, and it looked good, but it was also very nerve-wracking.
Oh my God. I can't tell you the amount puke the whole entire time.
I mean, we're parents. I mean, that could be a huge part of it.
Well, it is, but also
still, I think that the one thing you see him do, like that you see Barry do, right, with one of the babies, like you don't do that, you know? And I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And like I think everyone could agree, like no, like everybody had that feeling. And I know that's what Andy Muschietti was going for.
Yeah.
Like he wanted people to feel uneasy.
Yeah. He wanted
the director of It.
Yes.
Is the same. He directed both parts of the newest It.
And also, like I told you the other day, it speaks volumes that Stephen King has even said that this is a good movie. I can't remember his words exactly.
And Tom Cruise.
And Tom Cruise, which got to see it before, I guess, anybody had it delivered to his house. Somebody had to stay there
until he finished it.
So there wouldn't be like, you know, one of those crazy coincidences of it being passed around, made copies.
Like Wolverine.
Yeah, it was Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, because it happened. Yes, because it's while they were at Fox. That's what happened there. That's how it got leaked out.
Yeah.
But,
and I mean, James Gunn himself has said how, like, he's done nothing but sing the praises of this. And he's, don't get me wrong, he's over DC Studios, and he has a reason to talk good about the movies that's coming out. I get that. But
aside from that, did he talk about Shazam 2 in the same vein?
No. Has he talked about Aquaman 2 in the same vein? No. No, he has kind of talked about Blue Beetle.
Yes,
but not in the same way that he's talking about the Flash.
No. He's looking forward for Blue Beetle to be out.
Which apparently Blue Beetle's going to be in the DCU, but that's another topic for another day. So yeah, I gotta say the villain in this movie is one of probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to just throw out random phrases of like, oh, it's the best villain of any movie.
It's a really good villain.
There's so much to the villain that matters and that works better than just any of these generic villains that we typically get.
Yeah.
We are introduced to the villain in this movie, and we deal with the villain in this movie. It doesn't set up 5 more years of movies. Like, this whole movie is just
cliffhangers. Thank God.
In as much as it pays tribute, I guess, to the prior movies in the DCEU, I feel like The Flash is still super self-contained. Like, I think really anybody could go watch this movie, not even having seen any of the others. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Are you going to get all the references? No, you're definitely not. But I think anybody that understands that there's a Justice League, right? I mean, everybody knows what the Avengers is at this point, so it's just DC's Avengers, right? And I hate saying it that way because no, Justice League was better than the Avengers back in the day, all right? In the comics, I'm talking about comics. I'm not talking about this. Like, I didn't even know what the fucking Avenger was. All right, but God damn it, I knew who the Justice League was.
Yeah,
all right, they fought giant starfishes. All right,
yeah.
Even though plural of fish is fish. All right, listen. So they may not get that, but as long as you know Barry's a part of a team, that team includes Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Right?
Usually,
but like as long as you get that, this movie does a good enough job of taking you from that into the Flash's story, and then everything that happens while you're in the Flash's story is new to everyone.
Yeah.
And in the way it's handled, like, even if you don't get, by the end of the movie, if you don't understand any of the things that they're showing or talking about, again, spoiler free, I think that the payoff is still able to be understood by someone who has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I
especially
agree.
the very last payoff.
Yeah.
You know, like that's an obvious enough thing that even if you don't know the history behind it, it's still like, oh my, why?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We kind of talked about this a lot, especially on the ride back, but after so many movies over the past few weeks of just cliffhangers, we had Fast X.
This is just so nice.
We had Across the Spider-Verse, which is great. I love Across the Spider-Verse.
We're not pooping on it.
But it is a cliffhanger.
It is a cliffhanger.
Transformers Rise of the Beasts was it set up the whole new universe, basically, right? And so getting this movie and just being able to watch it, take it in, enjoy it, and it ends, and we just move on.
So nice.
So great. It was nice to just have that. And I'm one all about building universes. Okay. Yeah. Like, I love that shit. I love all the Easter eggs and stuff. But I'm fatigued by that.
Seen.
Yes. And it's become too generic.
Yes.
Like, I love Marvel. I love the MCU. But every single one of their movies recently has just been, the Eternals was very well made, right?
Yes, it was.
But again, it's just, here's a bunch of people with superpowers. Yeah. Here's them overcoming the thing to do their superpowers.
We'll never see them again.
No, we'll see them again. But, I mean, not in Eternals 2 or anything.
No.
And it's just like, it doesn't do anything. We're just setting up 5 more stories. Black Panther, that was my biggest complaint about Wakanda Forever, is it felt like, oh, here's all these storylines that'll be explored in Disney Plus,
Yeah.
Like, here's your 5 new shows that are going to be coming out.
I think that got pushed.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it has. Ironheart has.
Yeah, Ironheart, and I think they're doing one, that weird Power Ranger looking suit that they had. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But anyway, we're not going to get into all that. So anyway, it was just nice finally getting a movie amongst all of these other superhero movies, especially one in a universe that's so convoluted.
Yes.
To just be able to just watch it and enjoy it, it's done. And it was really refreshing. And like, as a DC fan, I mean, I'm wearing a freaking Green Lantern t-shirt. As a DC fan, I really enjoyed this movie, and
I did too.
Like, I feel like that's the 2 levels, right? Like, there's the general audiences. Was it a decent movie to watch and understand and stuff? Absolutely, I think it was great. I think anybody could watch this movie and have a good time. Just like anybody could watch Guardians and have a good time.
Yeah.
But as a DC fan, as somebody that loves this shit, right? I mean, we do a Smallville podcast, for God's sakes. It was incredible. Like, the things in this, the fan service in this.
Listen.
Was so good. Oh, I died.
My imaginary friend as a child was Batman. And you know what? I called him Michael. Because of Michael Keaton. That's why. I have always loved DC. My brother showed me all of his comic books, like Death of Superman. He had the Batman comic where Bane broke his back.
So now the broken back for you, brother.
And like I always loved Batman. I love Batman the animated series.
Batman Beyond. Batman.
I didn't get
the
to watch
cartoon,
Batman.
the Batman.
I know what you meant, but like I didn't get to watch those.
Do you think the Joker will have dreadlocks in the Batman movie series?
Oh, please do it.
No, God, that was awful. I hated that cartoon.
I didn't like that either. But I've always been a DC fan first.
Yeah.
Like I love Spider-Man. He was probably right up there with Batman. Great. I love me some Spider-Man.
I've always heard Spider-Man. No, wait, never mind. I have it backwards. Never mind. I was gonna say I've always heard that Spider-Man was a DC superhero in the Marvel universe, but no, it's actually Batman. Batman is a Marvel hero stuck in the DC universe because like his story and his rogues and stuff fits in the Marvel thing much more than it does in DC.
Wow,
and that's actually a very astute point. But anyway,
anyways, and yes, I loved all the stupid Schumacher Batman movies growing up.
Hey. They weren't stupid, okay?
I know.
I would watch Batman and Robin over Batman Returns any day, and there I fucking said it, okay?
I want the Schumacher cut.
Dude, with the giant fucking bat? Please, God, please.
My brother texted us the other day. He said Kevin Smith said that he's got the Schumacher cut of Batman and Robin. I was like,
dude,
oh, please,
I'd
release it.
I'd pay to go to Jersey and watch it at the Smod Castle. I would absolutely do that. Okay, best $4,000 I've ever spent.
That was one of those movies that mom recorded off of pay-per-view.
That's great.
And I watched it over and over and over.
It's so good, man. I mean, it's not, but it was at the time.
I didn't grow up with a lot of Marvel knowledge.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody did.
Nobody did.
There wasn't a lot of Marvel knowledge to be had. I mean, there's the X-Men cartoon and the Spider-Man cartoon, and that was it.
And I did watch the X-Men cartoon, but like,
I wasn't a big fan.
I knew more about DC. Like, I watched the old but Justice League cartoon.
The Super Friends?
Yes. I watched it.
At the Legion of Doom. That was great. I did watch that too.
I watched it.
Of course, they showed up in Scooby-Doo. I think that's a big part of it.
Yes. Well, also, I think Hanna-Barbera helped draw the Super Friends, I believe.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain. Anyways, all in all said, I've always had a big love for it. I love Batgirl.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm still mad to this day. Don't get me started.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in spoilers.
But for me,
the canceled Batgirl movie is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like
don't get me started.
We have stuff to say about it in spoilers, but it's not a spoiler. There's nothing to do with Batgirl and the Flash.
No.
Just want to throw that out there. I didn't want people to get the wrong impression.
No. Yeah.
Batgirl's literally, there's no reference or anything. It's
nothing.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. But I felt like a kid again.
Yeah.
Watching this.
Yeah.
And whenever you get into the Keaton of it all, and like I started noticing things, I could recognize people's voices. And I don't know. I think.
Well, I mean, you looked over at me and you was like, "It's the mansion. It's the suit.
It's the suits. It's the suits of armor from the Burton movies."
Like you were doing the thing that I usually do to you, but you were doing it to me. Maggie, that's Rhinox.
Holy bleep, Maggie, it's Cheetor.
It's Cheetor, Maggie. Oh my god. But no, it was great. Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
And again, we'll get more into spoilers, but I just want to say I think that the entire story completely works.
Yes.
People have said it's confusing. I don't think it's confusing.
Not know how you can be confused by this.
I think the only way it's confusing is if you, and I'm not saying you gotta turn your brain off, but I think if you overthink it, it's kind of like,
you can't overthink it.
It's kind of like Back to the Future. You
Yeah.
just kind of have to accept the rules that they're giving you.
That's right.
And just go with it. Because any movie with like time travel and alternate realities and stuff, none of it makes sense if you really drive down.
Interstellar.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you ever think Interstellar and it falls apart.
Yes.
You know? I mean, don't get me wrong, he did a fantastic job.
Yes.
But if you try to think too much about it, you start getting into all these theoretical loops and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it unravels for you.
Our brains just can't comprehend quantum mechanics like that, you know.
And you could ruin the whole experience for yourself.
Yeah. And I think that could be a reason why people are saying it sucks, because they weren't willing to just accept the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. But I thought it makes sense.
Rules.
And I mean, hey, but I'm more than happy to hear you out. If you did not like The Flash, please let us know in the comments. I would love to hear legitimate reasons why you did not enjoy the movie. And it's fine. Like, you can totally not like this movie. That's totally fine. You're not wrong. It is your opinion. I'm just curious, like, what specifically was it that just didn't work for you?
Yeah.
I just want to know that, because I want to be able to understand that. Because right now, all I'm seeing is the good.
Yeah.
And so I'd really like to get my head around what other people are seeing. And honestly, all the stuff I've seen is very superficial. Like, the effects weren't great, or just everything's so.
Oh crap!
So
Black Panther didn't look fantastic in the last act.
And like, I would argue that the effects weren't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things, and we'll talk about it in spoilers, but I mean, if you really think about what you're seeing, like, I don't really know if you'd want it to be much better than that, because it would be off-putting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I catch what you're saying. No, it'd be uncanny valley.
Exactly.
And you don't want that.
No.
You don't want to scare people's Zemeckis.
You almost want to go stylized.
Yes.
And I think that...
And I understood that.
Yeah. And given the context of what we're seeing in the movie, I think that the stylized version of what we're seeing makes perfect sense. Like, it works.
Yes.
We need to get into spoilers.
Yes, we do.
So, again, we'll be going into spoilers. This is your last chance to not be spoiled on The Flash.
Dip out now.
But then come back and listen to us rank The Flash amongst the DCEU movies as well as the summer 2023 movies. Will this be our new number one? Will we rank this above Across the Spider-Verse? Come back and find out. But now, spoilers. Can't believe Barry was dead the whole time.
He's dead the whole time. His ghost was just stuck in the Speed Force.
I gotta say, okay.
I'm moving this button.
That's fine. Evil Flash, Dark Flash, whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
I love that. I loved
Metal
it.
Flash.
Dude.
That's what I wanted to call him.
He kind of looked like Doomsday, like with all the sparks and shit.
Oh, I know.
And I love the idea that, like, he just kept getting fucked so hard, like, by all these, like, swords and shit. And, like, that's what all of that crap was.
Yeah, because he just
kept
couldn't accept it.
And, I mean, the years that he spent trying to do this. Because, I mean, he was old. He had aged like hundreds of, I mean, not hundreds, but decades. I love that. And I think that the idea of the villain of this story is Barry. And like, it's all about, like, the movie is about accepting the things that you can't change.
Yes.
Right. And that if you stick in the things, if you stay stuck in the past and the things that you wish you could change and you don't accept it, then you literally become the worst version of yourself. Yeah. And, like, Barry couldn't be the good person he is unless he had experienced what he had experienced. Yeah. And it's not so much to say, like, you have to go through shit. It's not that. No. It's saying that through the going through shit, you can learn and grow and be a better version of yourself. You know? Yeah. Like, everything can suck.
Yeah.
But if you take it the right way, if you take it and try and learn and grow and mature and become a better, person, then it can not necessarily worth it, but it can make it matter.
Yeah.
And not just be something that's just stuck in your side.
Yes.
Right. And, like, we come from church backgrounds and stuff. And so I'm not trying to get, like, super religious in this, but, like, I feel like that's a better message than the Bible.
Oh boy, buddy!
I'm joking. I as I was saying it, I was
you take your experiences and you learn from them.
Exactly.
And also you can learn from other people's experiences too.
Yeah.
But as Barry was finding out, wherever there's 3 of them in that chrono ball.
The chrono ball.
And
what a name. The chrono ball. I love it. Oh.
Young Barry realized that was him.
Yeah.
And the Barry that we know realized, like before old Barry showed up, realized that young Barry hadn't went through what he went through.
Yeah.
Like he didn't learn that lesson yet.
Yeah. I mean, we've spent the entire movie him learning that.
Yeah.
You know, like him realizing, like our Barry knew by the second time we can't change this.
Yeah.
And Barry, I mean, he spent decades because he never had to experience that. You know, like he never had to go through the pain of loss and moving on.
And like Batman the second time around, and when our Barry goes and tries to save him, I mean, it goes a little bit better, but still, it happened that this 2 pieces of spaghetti, the times that intersect each other, it had to happen.
Yeah,
it had to happen.
Yeah.
And
this is a fixed point in time.
It's a fixed point in time.
And granted, I guess they didn't spend a whole lot of time really explaining what that means.
But it had to happen.
And I feel like you get that. And maybe I don't know, maybe I mean I understood it, but I've experienced that in other media, comic books and shows and stuff.
Well, and that's another thing too.
Some things just can't be changed.
Yeah. And that's the one thing like Back to the Future. Yeah. I mean, God, there's countless movies about going back in time, but like there's always a fixed point in time. That's
not always,
but it's got to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think that's one of the things that people don't like to accept the idea that we're not in control of ourselves.
Yeah,
right. Like, and I mean in general. Like, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about like in general, right? Like the free will, choice, those are things that just as individual people, we have to have those, right? The Matrix got that correct.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, so I think when this movie posits the idea that there are some things that you don't have choice over, that there is something called fate that is in play in some way, I think that's hard for some people to accept.
Yeah.
And not saying that that's true. But even just in a entertainment world, it's hard to put your mind in a space of not having the freedom of choice.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that could be playing with why people were not digging this movie. Yeah, like Barry gave up too much, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. This movie is like trying to say a lot and also not trying to say anything. Like it's saying a lot about you accepting the things that have sucked and being able to learn and grow and be a better person, right? But I don't think there's anything that it's trying to tell you about you don't have free will.
Yeah.
I don't think that's any part of it. That's just the rules of this universe, of the Flash or DCEU or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's one of the things that makes this movie so good. Yes. Like it actually has a thought to it. Like it's actually kind of teaching something, and like I love that shit. Mm-hmm. Like that's what sci-fi's supposed to do. It's supposed to show, a reflection of humanity in a way that we can't normally see in a real movie, or in real life. Yeah, it's supposed to be like, hey, if you stay stuck in the past, you literally become your worst enemy.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's true.
And like that's what happened. And it's so easy and simple and straightforward. But they just do it in such a magnificently entertaining way. Yes. I love this movie. I'm just really love this movie.
And then like reality just tore through and all these other worlds came through.
Dude, oh my God.
Oh my God. Like the first one, of course, we got George Reeves.
Which was unexpected.
I heard him talking and I was like, holy crap, are they doing this? And then inside that chrono ball was the first Flash. The
Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
Which everybody is very confused on who that is. Okay, because
I only know because of you.
well, no, I mean like the actor. Because okay, so like Jay Garrett comes running by, right, and it looks just like the dude from the Flash TV series that played Jay Garrett, and even New Rockstars was saying that is that actor. Today, that actor was asked about it, and he said, "I don't think it's me, because I don't." I mean, I'm sleep deprived. We have a new baby and stuff, but like, I think I would remember shooting a big budget Hollywood movie.
God.
And so like, I don't know. And, I mean, I could see it being like footage that they just reused from the Flash TV series. So maybe he wouldn't have been aware, like because he wouldn't have had to come in and shoot it. But I mean, he would have been paid for it, and I feel like he would have known.
He had to.
But it could have also just been. Nobody. I mean, it could have just been an AI.
I swear to
generated person.
Swear to you, that looks like him.
It looks exactly like him.
It looks like him.
Which I mean, granted, you put anybody in that outfit and the hat and stuff. I mean, it's gonna look similar.
Okay, and then after George Reeves' Chrono Ball, it was Christopher Reeve.
I believe so. I think it was Christopher Reeve. If not,
I can't think of her name that plays.
Oh, not Kelly Slater.
Kelly Slater's a surfer.
Yeah.
World's best surfer.
I don't have it. I used to know her name.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
It shows we get to see Christopher Reeve.
Helen Slater.
Yeah, you was right about Slater.
Yeah. It came.
And we got to see them together, which never happened.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, all of this is very much CGI.
Yes.
And that's what we was talking about before. Spoilers. If they had tried any harder, I do believe it would have been creepy.
Yeah. And I mean, not Helen Slater, but like everybody else they show is dead.
Yes.
And like,
except for Nicolas Cage.
Well, yeah. I guess Nicolas Cage. Yeah, he's not dead.
He's still.
And
Helen Slater, is it? She's
no, that's what I said. Like, except for her. So her and Nicolas Cage aren't dead, but like, and I guess that one Flash guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, she obviously looks like she did in the 80s.
80s, yeah.
And like, which one, I gotta say, I love that they did that. They didn't have to do that.
I didn't think that would make me feel so, like, I was happy to see Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yes.
But like, then see her fly down, I'm like, oh.
It was great. Like, it felt like she finally got approval.
Yeah.
You know? Because like they never actually connected in the movies. Like Jimmy Olsen is in Supergirl, but they never mentioned Superman or anything.
Yeah.
And like Christopher Reeve was originally supposed to have a cameo in it, but then he backed out because he said he didn't want to like confuse people.
Aww.
Because it just wouldn't make sense. Like, why are there two super people? Don't get me wrong. I think he had a wrong opinion on it, but it was the 80s, man. People were
well,
weird.
I think also too, I mean, at that point, like you said, everybody said, that franchise is dead.
Yeah, I mean, Supergirl, it wasn't good.
And then
he probably made the right choice. He probably read the script and was like, I'm not getting anywhere near this.
And then like after you see that Chrono Ball, you see this guy, the Superman.
No, wait, didn't Adam West show up before that?
Yeah, Adam West. Yeah,
Adam West Batman somewhere.
And Robin.
Yeah.
Just for a brief second, you could hear him. But then you see this super person just get slammed up against this like rock fixture, and you see all these bugs, and I was like, here I am sitting there, and I was like, who is that? Who could this be? Who else am I missing?
And I'm dying over there. The moment it happened, I was like, I can't fucking believe I'm seeing what I'm seeing right now.
Well, he knew immediately. Because you've heard the story.
I've heard it.
I've only heard it like, from you, but like through that documentary.
Yeah.
See the big ass spider. And I was like, holy crap, it's Nicolas Cage Superman. And he actually got to... Like, so good. Be in the suit, like they screened it and everything.
Yes, dude. So good, man.
And also he met Kojima this past week. Yes. And I'm just like, what a week Nicolas Cage is having.
Cage. The Renaissance. The Cage-assance. You know? Get in the cage with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. And I loved all that. And
well, now wait, hang on. I gotta talk about Nicolas Cage. Okay, like before we move on.
You talk about.
You're fine. I mean, I don't want to get you off your point, but I mean that was incredible.
I'm about to get something else to drink.
Okay, I'll put on me. that was incredible. Honestly, this is one of those moments where I feel like if you have no idea what the fuck is going on, that this is still going to be, at the very least, you can understand this is Nicolas Cage. If you don't know who Nicolas Cage is, you can understand this is a Superman, and it's just different from what you've ever seen, and that it works on that very basic level. But if you know what this is, it's the best thing that should never have existed ever, and it does now. Like, it is officially real, and nothing can change that. Nothing can ever take that away from us. Nicolas Cage's Superman is finally an actual real thing, you know.
And also, may I add, it is Tim Burton's Superman.
Yes.
Yes. That's what's the kicker for me. I loved that.
Honestly, the first time I ever heard about this was An Evening with Kevin Smith. It was a DVD I rented from Blockbuster back in, like, I think 2002, okay? Which I ended up buying afterwards because I loved it so much. And then I got, like, Evening Harder and then a 3 evening. I just kept getting them. And then he started podcasting. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And so he has, like, this big 20-minute segment where it's right after Mallrats came out, and it was before he was going to do Chasing Amy. It may have even been before Mallrats came out. I don't know. But either way, Warner Brothers had just a general meeting with him.
Yeah.
And that's just like, hey, you know, you're an up-and-coming writer. We'd like to talk to you about, you know, any future projects. So he goes, and they're like, well, you know, here's a few things. One of them was Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. I forget what the other one was. And then the other one was Superman 5.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you're going to do Superman? I'll take Superman. They're like, well, you can't take it. Like, you can pitch for it. But you can't, you know.
You can't own it.
Yeah. And so he tells this whole story about going to John Peters' house. He's the executive producer over Superman movies because he owned the rights to it. It's a whole weird thing.
Oh my God.
And then how the guy had 3 conditions. He didn't want to see him in the suit. He didn't want him flying. I think
He didn't want him flying.
Basically Smallville rules.
Yeah.
But the other rule was he also, in the 3rd act, he had to fight a giant mechanical spider. Yeah. Like, that was it had to be a giant mechanical spider.
And he got it in Wild Wild West.
Damn it, Maggie. I was getting there. And so
I couldn't wait any longer.
Tim Burton gets attached to it, and that changes a bunch of stuff. And Tim Burton didn't want to use Kevin Smith's script. And then there was a whole thing about the Planet of the Apes movie that Tim Burton did, where it had the Abraham Lincoln, and Kevin Smith and Chasing Dogma, which is basically Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the road trip part, when they find the ape, Suzanne, and they cut away to it. In the comic book, there is Abraham Lincoln, and then his Planet of the Apes came out like 3 years later, and so they acted like they were going to sue Tim Burton because he stole.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was a whole other thing. Yeah. So anyway, Tim Burton gets a hold of it. There's a whole documentary called "The Death of Superman Lives: What Happens." It's fantastic.
Very good.
I hate that the guy that made that is not alive to see that this actually happened. I was part of the Kickstarter for it.
Yeah.
And they got so much that they were actually able to recreate some of the scenes, like reshoot them and stuff, like legit shoot them. Obviously not with Nicolas Cage, but. Yeah. Like, they were actually able to make some of these scenes from the original script. Yeah. And like he sat down with Tim Burton. It's a great movie.
It's just really good.
But to see this, like to have lived with this knowledge, right? And it's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
Like, just the whole thing about it being the mechanical spider. And then, you know, that movie fell apart. And then a few years later, he's watching Wild Wild West. It's produced by John Peters. There's a giant mechanical snake.
I remember.
Or spider, rather.
That's like one of my memories of Wild Wild West. Like, no, like before I ever watched it.
Yeah.
My mom and I had went and watched something. I don't even know what it was. I can't even remember. And like how it was in the mall where the bathrooms were at.
Yeah.
There's a theater like right beside the bathroom, and they had the door wide open.
Oh my God.
And I just happened to look in there, and I was like, why does Wild Wild West have
a giant spider? Dude, that movie's
that's like burned
garbage.
into my mind.
We need to do
it's bad.
We should do a commentary track for Wild Wild West. That'd be fun. For our Patreon.
We could wild.
So anyway, to be living with that for all of these years, and then to not even have been spoiled on it. You know, I had no clue that Nicolas Cage was going to be in it.
Oh, I knew nothing
at all
into this.
The only slight thing that I didn't even know but like I saw it and I didn't know the context, and I kind of just brushed it off, and so I didn't get it until we saw it happen, and then I was like, oh, okay. Christopher Reeve was trending.
Oh.
And I was like, I saw that, but like I didn't pay any attention.
Whatever.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to know. Like it said The Flash, and then
don't care.
It said Christopher Reeve, and like I was just like, no, here post, and just didn't think about it, didn't want to think about it.
Yeah, my brother pretty much went into like social media blackout.
Oh, you have to.
Because he didn't get to watch it until Father's Day.
Yeah.
But I texted him Thursday and I said, I'm just letting you know that The Flash is awesome, and I'm not going to tell you anything.
I'm telling you nothing.
And he starts
nothing.
He texted me. He's like, "Oh my god, I hear the Elfman music," and then like maybe an hour passes, and then I get, "What the hell, Nicolas Cage?"
It's so good.
Then WTF, the other thing.
Oh, you can go ahead and say it.
George Clooney. I called it.
She called it.
I called it.
She called it. She did it.
I heard his voice where he's on the phone. Barry.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that voice. That's Clooney. It's Clooney. I start hitting my head. It's Clooney.
I was like, it's
Clooney.
not Clooney.
And then he gets out of the car and Barry
And it
goes,
was George Clooney.
What is this?
It's so good. The best line reads. He's like, hey, Barry, I can't believe that they got Clooney back. I can't believe that.
I love that so much.
It's so good.
Yes.
Clooney, like, notoriously does not like his take on Batman. Like, he is not a fan.
Oh,
and,
really?
Oh, yeah. He's apologized for that movie.
Aww.
Like, he's like, I'm sorry I ruined Batman for everybody.
Aww.
Which he's always tongue-in-cheek about it, Like, he knows it was just a move, It was,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, he still is, but like back in like the late 90s and stuff.
That's what you
like,
did.
That's you
got
saw him everywhere.
You got a big movie that would turn you into a star. It had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. It had
Uma Thurman.
Yeah, so
Chris
I mean,
O'Donnell.
Alicia Silverstone. Like, so it was a big thing. And I mean, Batman was a hot property back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is, obviously.
Still is, yeah.
So I mean, he's coming out of VR. So I mean, it makes sense. I'm going to do this, and then it'll help me be a movie star, And I mean, I guess it worked.
It did work. I mean,
and so to get him back, it's just beyond my wildest imagination.
Him as an not seeing him in a bat suit, but him as an older Bruce Wayne,
A sexy Bruce Wayne.
a sexy. I mean,
Batfleck's sexy Batman too.
I like sexy old Batfleck too. But just seeing because he played the Playboy very well.
Yes.
George Clooney did,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my god, this is so great.
It was great, honestly.
Him getting out of this really expensive car. Oh my gosh.
And that was another thing I was saying. Like, general audiences, even if they don't even know that George Clooney was Batman at some point, you'll know that that's George Clooney and that he's another person other than Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like, you'll understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, you told me that they had shot 3 different endings.
Yes, so actually, I have that on here.
Okay.
So they had 3 different endings for this movie. The one that we got in theaters was the 3rd ending that they shot. And I believe they did this one because I don't know if they shot this one. I don't know what all the rules are, but I think main reason they went with this one was because of how the DCU is changing.
Yes.
And they've changed up the plans for a lot of stuff, including Batgirl, and that's where this is about to go into. So the first ending that they had was Keaton's Batman and Cal's, is that her last name?
Yeah.
Sasha.
Yeah.
And Sasha's Supergirl would be at the courthouse. So I guess when Bruce pulls up, both of them would have got out in the car. And they would have still been there.
That would have been so sweet.
Yeah, it would have been great. And then the
especially
second
after
ending,
that whole deal. My God, I think Barry would have broke down crying.
Almost would have kind of negated that a little bit.
I know. Now thinking, as awesome as that sounds,
Yeah, it would have kind of diminished.
The payoff wouldn't have been good.
It would have kind of diminished young Barry's sacrifice a little bit. But I mean, again, it's not the same Supergirl.
No,
because it's a different timeline.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all that.
Or, see, that's where we're overthinking it.
Exactly.
So we got to stop.
Then the other ending was Sasha's Supergirl, Henry Cavill's Superman, Godot's Wonder Woman, and Keaton's Batman all were at the courthouse. Again, I don't think they all just get out of the car.
No,
but
they're all standing there.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're in their civilian clothes, or I don't know. But
Bruce
either way,
would be out in Batman suit in broad daylight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
so
I mean, Batfleck was though at the beginning of the movie.
And so that would have kind of reset the DC EU a little bit. Like we got rid of Batfleck because we knew he wasn't doing any more Batman movies.
He's sworn off of it.
And then that would have set up the reason why Michael Keaton was in Batgirl.
Yeah.
And it was still what's his name as Gordon?
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was waiting for. I was like, are they going to do the same thing like they did in Spider-Man? That J.K. Simmons is going to be Commissioner Gordon
in every universe?
In every universe,
even though he's not in the
I know.
But anyway, I get what you're saying.
I know.
No, and I mean, as great as the Clooney thing was, where my brain was at was there had been a report a few months ago that an old Batman was going to return, like someone who'd played Batman previously.
Yeah.
And that they were going to be the Batman going forward in the DCU with Batman Brave and the Bold, which is about Batman and his son Damian as Robin. And so the big rumor was that it was Christian Bale. And so they were going to introduce Christian Bale at the end of this, and he would have his son, and that's what Brave and the Bold would be, right? And Andy Muschietti, Andy Muschietti, the director of The Flash, was also being talked about being the director of Batman, which he now is officially. Yes. They've officially announced that. And so like it really felt like the pieces were coming together, like it would make sense, right? And so when he gets the call, it's definitely not Ben Affleck. That's where my brain's at. Is like it doesn't sound like Christian Bale, but like that's just what I'm expecting, you know?
Yeah.
And so when it's George Clooney, I was just blown away.
I yelled out, "Yes!"
Dude, it was so like it was almost like I got punched in the face, like, but in a good way.
Yeah,
you know, because I just was not expecting. That was like
I don't think I ever yelled out so much during this movie as I have in the other.
I was expecting Christopher Reeve's Superman more than I would ever expect. Christian Bale, or not Christian Bale, but George Clooney's Batman. Yeah. I never, in my wildest dreams, would I have thought we would get George Clooney back as anything related to Batman.
I know. I was kind of saying it as a joke back then. Yeah. You know, it's going to be Clooney. Clooney's going to come back. You know, he's going to be the one that ushers in Damian and stuff. Yeah. You're like, no, they're not going to get Clooney back. There's no way.
Clooney ain't doing that shit. And I still don't think he is.
I don't think so either.
Like, I really feel like this is a joke.
I think I bet he really liked just filming that little bit.
For sure.
Because, like you said, he's apologized.
I think it's, again, you can kind of tell Andy Muschietti is a little bit of being, not art and imitating life, but more turning life into art, I guess. But where Barry, okay, stick with me here. It's kind of deep. Barry has to find acceptance.
Yes.
Andy Muschietti is trying to give acceptance to prior DC properties that were not appreciated in their time. Christopher Reeve, not so much.
No, everybody.
But Supergirl,
Nicolas Cage.
Getting to stand side by side with Christopher Reeve.
I know.
Like I feel like that's the thing. Is like he's like, no, fuck you. They are in the same universe, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you can eat shit. Like no, Supergirl is just as important in the Christopher Reeve universe as Superman is. And like she was never given her due at that time. Yeah. I feel like this is his way of being like, no, fuck you. She is. She's great.
Yeah.
Even though the movie's probably not good. I've never watched it. We bought it. We're gonna watch it.
I did find an old book at an antique store about the whole entire movie, but I didn't get it.
Oh, really?
Because I remember sending you a picture. I was like, look what I found. And you're like, oh God.
I do own it on iTunes. So we're gonna watch it during our Smallville rewatch.
Yeah.
Because we're watching all of Chris Reeves in between seasons. Anyway. But then you've also got Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Giving it that acceptance.
Yeah.
Right. And then Clooney. And so I really feel like it's almost a meta way of being like, you have to accept the past.
Yeah.
To be able to be the best version of yourself. And if we try and negate these poor choices or whatever, if we try to not own those, then we're denying the fun we can have within that, you know? And just like Barry, if he denies, you know, himself the ability like to live post mother dying, post father being in jail, right? Like that he's been solely focused on those things that he didn't live. And even seeing himself like going on a date with Iris.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you're going on a date with Iris. And the way that young Barry was able to talk to Supergirl and be very like confident.
Yeah.
And our Barry is like fumbling over himself and stuff, even though he's lived the superhero life. Like, even though young Barry was stupid, he had at least that.
Because he's a teenager, too.
Well,
teenagers are young and dumb.
Yeah, but he had confidence. Because, I mean, there was no reason. He believed in himself. And our Barry didn't, you know. And so he had to find that acceptance within himself. And so I think that's Andy Muschietti, in a way, was trying to make that with these other characters coming back. Like,
I agree.
Like George Clooney being there wasn't just for the joke, although the biggest piece of it was for the joke. But I feel like it was also still a meta commentary on acceptance of the past. And that's great. Because if we didn't accept that, then we wouldn't have got George Clooney as Batman returning. And it wouldn't have made me smile ear to ear, you know? He was great, honestly.
Gorgeous.
And even accepting the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Like everything, you know, the opening with the Justice League, that was like the best Justice League movie we've ever had, was the first 20 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it was at least better than the
I just
Justice
love
League.
how Alfred calls Barry, and he's like, Barry, we need you in Gotham. And he's like, well, haven't you tried Diana? Oh, Diana's busy. Haven't you tried Superman? And he looks up at the TV. He said, never mind. I know where he's at. And like, he's like, no, you need to go help Batman. You need to go fix this. He's like, why do I have to clean up the Bat mess?
I feel like
I love that.
I joined the Justice League, but I feel like I'm just the Justice League's custodian. I thought that was great. Now, when he put the baby in the microwave.
Oh, Jesus.
That was the part. And like, when the babies start falling out the windows, I was like, what the fuck? You don't do that.
No, but
it was played as a joke, which was fine. But
yeah,
Jesus, that was
God,
the most...
there's like, what, 15 babies?
Dude, I hated that. I loved it so much, and I hated it.
And like, you're thinking, oh, God, you know, because you see his watch, it says, you know, low energy, and you're like, oh, God, how's he going to do this? Because like, he loses his energy, he's going to be out of the Speed Force.
I mean, at no point did I think that they would actually kill any of these babies.
No, I didn't think so either. I was like, they're not going to kill babies.
Know.
They're not going to kill the babies.
But you never know.
No.
Like, what if that was a part of the story and he had to go back in time to fix that, to save these babies? You know what I mean? Like, we didn't know where it was going.
No. But I love how...
It's a nightmare.
They played the vending machine and the food into it.
Yes.
While he was eating, he was just gently pushing.
Well, and like you see, like a scalpel is getting ready to hit a baby. There's an explosion getting ready to hit a baby. There's like acid getting ready to hit a baby. And you see Barry, like he's like, you think he's going to save one of these babies, and he's really just going to the vending machine.
But and also I liked what Eric Voss said on New Rockstars, that you see Barry just barely touch them, or he's like moving the inanimate objects, because those babies could throw up.
Yes, because we see that with Barry later.
Yes. He's like, what did you do? He's like, I moved you.
Dude. I mean, and you're not supposed to shake a baby.
No.
So I mean, like, even just that would have been like, Jesus.
And just how it all, and the dog.
The dog, the end credits with just the dog falling.
And the baby's falling.
Dude, that's so great. It was such a great way to just end the movie, was with that dog
poor
falling.
Nurse. I felt so bad for her at the end, and watching all this baby.
Oh my God, dude.
Going down on the bed. God.
But honestly, I mean,
he opens up the microwave with the baby.
Oh yeah, ding! Here you go, dude. It was so good. I loved seeing Ben Affleck's Batman again. Was wonderful.
Yeah, and his suit was awesome.
Yes, the blue and gray suit was so good.
They did very good there.
Yes, and I loved obviously getting Diana back. Mm-hmm. The post-credit scene about Aquaman was whatever. I mean, it was a joke.
Yes,
I feel like it was just played for a joke. And I feel like, honestly, the Clooney of it all, to me, plays kind of like Deadpool 2. I guess, spoiler alert for Deadpool 2. But like in the end credits, when he gets the watch and he goes back and changes basically the entire movie, you know? And like, so did he, like in Deadpool 3, did Deadpool 2 even actually happen? Or was the credits like real? And so like...
I'll laugh if they got Josh Brolin back.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. Like, just Vanessa being dead or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
well, and he comes back and says, you effed up history. I'm going to go back and fix what you did.
Yeah, because he tries to kill baby Hitler, right?
Yes.
And so I mean, like, you know, and all that, you know, it's basically it just depends on how they want to handle it in the third one, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what the Flash is doing here, in that, you know, it's played as a joke, and if they want to build off of it and say he kept going back and fixing it, and finally he was able to fix it and also keep his dad out of prison.
Yeah.
I think they could get there if they even use any of this. This may just be forgotten to time anyway. Or, you know, if they want to use Clooney, then they'll just say that it's legit. But to me, when he was talking to Aquaman and just the way he was phrasing things about, like, how they were all different Batmans, but they were all Bruce Wayne, and they all had very different lives, but they were all Batman still. Like, to me, because he was talking about it in the past tense, to me it came across like they had already fixed it. And so, like, when we're seeing this Aquaman, this isn't a different Aquaman. Like, this is the DCEU.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, and like
Aquaman.
Like Barry has just already fixed whatever, and like whoever Batman is whoever Batman is.
Yeah,
whether that's Batfleck, and I don't even know if at that point Barry would even be aware of that it's not Batfleck. Yeah, you know, that he would just accept, like, not even that he would accept it, but just the memories have all kind of collapsed on each other, and like. Yeah. To himself, Batman looks different. Yeah. And like he looks like he always looked, even though he looks different.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't even know if anything I said made any kind of sense.
I tried to stay with you there. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I really liked Iris, by the way.
Iris was great.
Yeah, I liked her.
I'm glad they got her back. She was cut out of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Which obviously she was in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
And I really think that I was talking to my brother Billy about this, and I think he said it, but I definitely was feeling the same way, that if you watch Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, preferably the Zack Snyder Justice League, and the Flash, that it's like a perfect universe.
No, I agree with that. I can totally see that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still some things that aren't completed, like the whole Nightmare Future stuff, but I feel like this movie, honestly, you could even use it to negate all of that, because Barry learns to not fuck with Tom.
Yeah. Also, I love how he figured he knew he could go back.
Yeah.
Because he was watching his mom and himself whenever he was little. Like this, I know it was like a flashback, but he was there in that neighborhood. But whenever he finds out that he could keep going, and like his head pops out. When the babies are falling, and his face is like humongous.
Well, and I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the Justice League, he doesn't actually time travel. Like, that didn't happen in Justice League, right? That was only in the Zack Snyder one.
No, it was only in the Snyder
where he rewinds time a little bit, so
they have a few seconds.
Yeah, because the world was being destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure.
No, you're right.
Because they mentioned that. Like, he said, he's like, oh, but he says it to Batman. He's like what happened in whatever that town was called in Russia, and he's like, but that was just a few seconds, Barry. Like, so I mean, they're referencing it, and I just, unless I'm forgetting in Justice League that they actually did it. I feel like they didn't. I mean, I know it was definitely more prominent in Zack Snyder's. Because the Flash saved like that family. Yeah, that's why his story became in the Justice League. Yeah. So, I feel like it definitely wasn't there. Yeah. Anyway, and all this may not matter. I mean, this just may not be a part of the DCU going forward. No. Which is fine. And honestly, if this is, to me, no matter how Aquaman 2 works, to me, this is the end of the DCU.
Oh, I agree.
Even if Blue Beetle takes place in the same universe, I will just always watch, like, if I ever go back and I'm like, oh, I want to rewatch the DCU, I will go back and I will always end with The Flash. I feel like this is the perfect way to end this universe. Yeah.
I agree.
No matter, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe the Aquaman 2 is just going to be immaculate. I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I highly doubt it.
But,
until Tom Cruise says he got an early screen out and says, this is the movie we need right now.
If they're going to put our boy Patrick something, is that his name?
It's Patrick something. I can't remember his
fucking wig. Like, if they keep him in that wig,
don't put him in the wig, guys.
One thing we didn't bring up, I know we're going way too long in the tooth. It's like Transformers all over again. One thing we didn't bring up was the Flashpoint of it all.
Yeah,
we rewatched Flashpoint over the weekend, the animated Flashpoint movie, just to kind of have that fresh in our minds. Which I read the comics and stuff. as they were happening. I really loved it, especially how it was used to set up the DC, the new 52. Which led to the Supergirl Kara and stuff. Yeah, it was great. And then it just all got stupid. But well, I mean, Watchmen came in and stuff, which was fun.
Oh, I know.
Like
I
that
know.
part,
yeah,
that was fun. But then it just got even more confusing.
Yeah.
And the Rebirth, and then the dark metal stuff. Anyway, the Batman Who Laughs. I just lost everything. No, the one. So they obviously changed this from Flashpoint. So
yes, they did.
I'm glad. At one point, this movie was called Flashpoint.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that because I feel like that sets the wrong tone for this. They don't have Reverse Flash in this, which is fun.
Which, like I told you, I'm really glad that they didn't do.
It would have been way too much.
They didn't do Thawne because I think that would have been way too much. Too soon, too much.
Especially since the Flash TV show covers all that.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have felt way too samey.
Yeah.
Did you know they do Flashpoint on the Flash series?
Yeah, we watched it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we watched it together. I'm pretty certain.
I didn't know if you had already started watching it with me at that point.
No, because you was like, oh, it's Flashpoint!
And then it was like a week.
Yeah.
And then it was done. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is terrible.
But not having a nega version of himself was kind of nice. Like, not having it in that mood.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me, that's like something everybody does at some point.
And it just would have felt too thrown together.
Yes.
For this movie.
Yes.
I think the fact that it was Barry, that we knew Barry the whole time, and that he was his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
I feel like that worked because we don't meet the villain until like the last 10 minutes of the movie. But we've actually known the villain the entire movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what makes that work. If we had thrown in the Reverse Flash at that point, I don't think people would have liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have liked it as a comic book fan, probably, but no, it wouldn't have worked for sure.
And also, we both agreed that we kind of wish we got the Thomas Wayne aspect of it all, because of the payoff.
Just the payoff is so good
because Thomas writes a letter to Bruce,
and Bruce gets the letter,
and he cries.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things that's ever happened in any comic book.
And it's so great.
It's just such a great thing.
And like in the animated movie, Thomas tells Barry, he's like, "Don't forget my son.
Yeah,
you can't forget about him."
He's like, if there's a chance that my son can live, then everybody can die or something. Like, and he's hardcore.
Yeah, he is. He's a Batman with guns.
Yeah, but in a good way. Like, because normally I'd hear that and be like, this sounds stupid. There was a Superman, and when Superman first came back, and like he didn't have any powers, and so he had all these guns and shit. I was like, this sucks. This is terrible.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm still, this movie being what it is, I'm totally fine that it's Keaton. I think it works better for this movie that it's Keaton than if they had done Negan from Walking Dead. I mean, which that would have been it just would have been a whole different movie.
Yes.
And that's fine. But I'm glad that we went this route with this one. I don't think we'll ever actually get a real Flashpoint, which is kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I mean, maybe in a couple dozen years, maybe we might get one. I mean, never say never.
No.
But I just feel like this movie is going to be so, like, it's so close to Flashpoint without actually being Flashpoint that it would be hard for them to do Flashpoint and be different enough, you know?
Yeah. Also, I loved Supergirl. I liked, I mean, they did what they did in the comics, like you said.
Yeah.
They got Superman, but they kept him out of the sunlight and stuff. Which they show that in
Flashpoint.
I'm trying to catch my breath.
You're fine.
And like, I like the fact that they didn't do to Kara like they did to Clark in the animated. Like, he could barely speak.
Well,
and like,
she was a little bit malnourished. Like, she was, when you first, and then when she gets the sun, it like it like builds her muscles and stuff. Yeah. No, I mean, they don't really pay, like, you don't, if you don't know what it's doing, you don't know. But like, if you know, you know. Well,
and not that just that part, but Clark just acted like, which I know he was a baby. He just socially
transmutate, like from Beast Wars. Friend, I am hurt. I'm glad she was a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now when Zod said that they killed Kal-El,
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, man.
Man.
That was like
that
he
instant,
killed the baby, and so like now we want Zod dead.
Yes,
you know.
But that instant rage she just cuts on right there.
It's so good.
Yes, we have a super person that's gonna just throw
beat the
crap
shit out of him. Yeah, and I do hate that she lost.
Yeah.
Like I get why. Honestly, I kind of wish she still would have got to kill Zod, and maybe Ursa got her in the end or something. But like I get why it had to go that way for the story, but it just would have been nice to see her succeed. Yes. Which, granted, you could also make the argument that she's been locked down there for, decade or something, and like it wouldn't make sense, like for her to be super powerful and also a super great warrior and stuff. But I digress. I thought it was great, honestly. I mean, we've nerded out about this movie for like an hour at this point. It's really good. It's just really good. It was a blast. And as far as the Chrono Bowl special effects stuff, it looks the way it does. I mean, it's like...
You just got to deal with it.
The example I told Maggie, I was like, people are complaining about this not looking real, right?
Yeah.
Interstellar, the library. Mm-hmm. The library doesn't look real, you know?
It doesn't.
And it's because it's a fourth dimensional proximity of time that we can't view on three-dimensional plane, you know? And so, like... That's why it looks fake as shit, because it's not supposed to look real.
Yeah.
And the Chrono Bowl is not supposed to look real. It's supposed to be like these awkward kind of like vignettes almost of,
Well, I'll look at it as like, this is probably like overthinking it, but like if you're inside Barry's Chrono Bowl and you see all these other worlds coming in.
Yeah.
Like, you got this energy around you.
Well, I mean, I'm not even talking about the worlds.
Well, I know.
I'm talking about like where you can see the past and like the character people are like, kind of almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the way that they're being.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how anything looks.
No.
And like, there's multiple versions. Like, not even versions. Like, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
All wrapped around because it's Tom.
Yeah.
Like it's
time.
How is it supposed to look?
Time has layers.
Onions have layers. What about a cake, Shrek?
Parfaits have layers.
But no, I'm with you. And like we said about the worlds, like them not wanting to be Uncanny Valley. I think that's the right choice.
You can't do that crap, man. That's only. You don't want Zemeckis.
No.
You don't want that stuff, guys.
Yeah.
You don't want Polar Express.
We're talking about Polar Express, not Forrest Gump, Zemeckis.
No, you don't want that.
So I mean, I don't know. I thought the effects were great.
I mean, thought so too.
I didn't think they're at
first it did like
it was jarring a little.
Yeah, like wherever you see Christopher Reeve, because like George Reeves to me, like it was in black and white.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then it shows Christopher Reeve and Supergirl. And I was like, Helen Slater. I was like, okay, I think I can roll with this. Yeah. And like the more the show's like, all right, I can do this.
Spoiler alert for Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
It looked a hell of a lot better than friggin' Luke Skywalker looked at the end of that.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot better.
Yes.
And a lot of the times when you do this de-aging stuff, it does not look good.
No.
I mean, even Admiral Tarkin in Rogue One, just complete CGI.
Oh, that
looked bad.
That's kind of scared me.
Like I feel like the Christopher Reeve stuff, like, and some people were complaining that they did it at all.
Oh, I know. They're like, you did disrespect to Christopher Reeve. You did disrespect to Adam West. And I was like,
if the family signs off on it, I think it's okay. I don't think you should,
I was like, the studio just doesn't go in and goes all bonkers over these IPs. Like, they actually ask the families about it.
My iPad's about to start. So, I mean, I'm not looking at chat now.
Oh,
so
okay. It's okay. I got it. I got 2 screens with chat, so I'm good.
Last few things. Andy Machete says 3 of the cameos that were cut from The Flash included Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, Marlon Brando's Jor-El, and Cesar Romero's the Joker.
Yeah.
Andy Machete also says that he had a 4-hour version of The Flash, but the theatrical cut is the best. There's a lot of things that are in the movie that are on the edit room floor, but this is really the best version of the movie. So don't go looking for the Machete cut.
Please don't.
And then
he
Sasha,
says this is the best, so we'll take his word for it.
James Gunn said the same thing about Suicide Squad.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, this is the cut of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Sasha says that she has met with Peter Safran about her future as Supergirl. It felt like my whole life was preparing me for this role in a way. Yeah. She got a call from Melissa Benoist, who was like talking about like they talked about Supergirl and stuff. And, like she gave her like her blessing and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I don't know if she talked to Helen Slater, but maybe
I could see.
I could totally see that.
I could totally see that.